Hi guys, I want to show you a slightly adjusted study. I made slight changes to it. I'm not sure if I improved it, but still. In the original one there were no pawns on the queen side. I mean a takes b, and then a and b pawns were missing, but pawns on the d file were standing. So white to move and win, this is a task which computer fails to solve. But you can, I believe you can. It's not a simple puzzle, otherwise Stockfish could have solved it quickly. It just involves a brilliant idea, extremely brilliant idea. So, how can humans solve this puzzle? First, I see that there's a problem with the king. Yeah, so it's close to being checkmated. I can do something like this. King, let's say, goes to g8 and h6 and almost checkmate, right? The problem is that after queen e2 check, here king cannot go because queen a6. Here king cannot go because of this. Taking on d4, it's queen b2. So king d5 only move, queen b5 check. And again, king here loses to queen b6. King e4 is the only move, and black has queen b7 check, stopping the mate. We can conclude that white is not winning here. The game continues, but white is not winning. So this would be probably the first line I continue. Something similar is with queen g6, even king h8 is possible with approximately the same lines. The king has no place to hide, and queen can give a check on 7th rank, and there would be no mate. So what else? Queen g5. King goes f7 or h8 and the game continues. White is clearly better, right? Best pawn, active pieces, but there is no win. So I'm gonna turn on Stockfish 9. I'm waiting for version 10, but so far that's the best I got. So I'll give it a minute to think about this position. So it clearly prefers white because of all the checks and passed pawn, but the evaluation is well, up to half a pawn, depending. I don't know, it changes evaluation from time to time. So what else can white do? Moving the king doesn't make sense. Moving the queen, we tried this. Well, maybe that's the best we've got, right? Maybe that's the best we've got. But still, if you keep on looking, I'm going to turn off engine just to show that it cannot find the win. I waited till much bigger depth. Feel free to check it. It's on Lichess, it's free, or you can find it a place to check it. So what else? What else can white do? h6 is a move to consider. The reason it is a move to consider is because black has only response. Going back with the king is really bad. And not even h7, but king d6 and mate to follow. There's no check, right? So black, of course, has to take that pawn. And why did we give it away? Well, maybe we can checkmate him with queen g6, right? There are no checks. King h5 falls into queen h3 mate, right? Or queen g5, for that matter. So black has queen h5 only move. And it seems that that's it. Queen moves, there's check from here or from here. White is many pawns down. Actually, the original puzzle was simpler. There were no pawns on the A and B files. And the solution went waiting move queen d3. We'll see why it works. So let's assume that there are no moves of the pawns. After b3, there are no moves of the pawns on the queen side, except like a6 or d3. Let's take a look. It's very atypical that in queen's endgame you have to ask this question. Usually that question is very useful in pawn endgames. Ask the question, what if it was my opponent's move? What if it was his move? Would that be any difference? So let's see, if it's black to move, let's try all the moves. If g4, what happens after g4? It's mate in 4. 1, 2, and this is the best defense. The queen g7 is mate, right? Okay, so g4 is being mated. Queen should protect the g6 square, otherwise mate, and also g5 square. So actually queen cannot move. Queen e8, it's queen g5, queen g7. So queen cannot move. So these three pieces cannot move, right? That's already a good sign. But this pawn can move. So that pawn goes, we take it, and again, what can black do? Black can go d4, but then we come back to f5. We've seen this position. Black will run out of moves like that. So what else can black do? Aha, pawn on g5 is not hanging. So queen can go now to e8. g4 is still not possible because queen e3, queen e7 and mate, right? So queen d3, it's now queen e8. Queen can move. Let's continue the calculation. Let's continue the calculation. White gives check from here, here, and guess where do we put the queen? Back to f5. Does this position ring any bells? I hope so. We had just had it with black to move and there was a pawn on d4, but now it's gone. It means that black will run out of moves eventually. For example, black can go a6. We go queen d3, waiting move. And pawn moving not working, queen e8, check, here, queen f5, back to square one. Black runs out of moves. So, but it is extremely important to play b3 move. If white plays queen d3 here, let's say waiting, black goes a4, let's say white is waiting. Black goes g3, white goes a3. The problem now is, let me remember. Aha, this is the problem. Black goes a6 or a5, and after queen d3, we checked this position, the pawn on d4 was gone. But now black goes g4, and we don't have a mate. Queen e3 is not possible. It's queen d2 check, king h7, and there's no queen d3 check and king is hiding. Then hopefully you would realize that we need queen c2 check, and then queen comes in. So let me show you. After b3, the best move is a6 for black. And now queen d3, black should make a move, and now g4 loses because of check, check, which is critical. King goes, it's check, king goes, it's check, and then queen g7 mate. So white is winning. It's not obvious, it's a very nice study. The study again was without these 5 pawns on the queen side. I just added them to find this b3 move, which is the only move that is winning. I will turn on the engine again, and it cannot find this win. In a game, this super engine, the best engine in the world, except maybe AlphaZero, will not win this position. It will take the pawn on g5 and keep on playing against another engine. That would be a draw, I believe. It does not consider h6 because, generally speaking, you're not supposed to give up the pawns. But for human eye, this is my recommendation for practical game. If after your move, your opponent has only one response, that's a good sign for you. It means that he's in trouble. And if after that you play another move, and again your opponent has the only defense, like in this case, h6, king f6, queen h5 is the only move, that's a very good sign. If your opponent has only move, it means he's in trouble. Keep looking. Don't give up on that variation too early, like Stockfish does. Feel free to wait until bigger depths, but my engine couldn't find it. Actually, if we remove the pawns from A and B, it gives zeros. On purpose, I made this one so that it thinks that it can take on g5, because with A and B pawns, without A and B pawns, it's clear that h pawn is not enough for a win. But with A and B, maybe the queen side will fall, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, the engine does not see this one. The engine prefers queen g5. Okay, I'm gonna show him h6. King h6, good boy, or girl, or it, good it. It says queen e6 and king f6 equally good. Oh, poor Stockfish. King f6. Oh, and only now it sees that after queen h5, Only now the engine spotted that b3 is winning, everything else is actually losing, because if black goes a4, white cannot go b3 anymore, because after takes, black will push a pawn and create a passed pawn and white could be lost. But after b3, it's mate in 19. Yeah, a4 doesn't change anything. B takes a, a6, we can go a5. a5 is not working. Why not? d3? No, it is working. Okay. It gave zeros. I could avoid. What's the difference? There was no difference. a5 is stronger than queen d3. A few moves quicker, white is checkmating. So now Stockfish can see it. So just like in one of my previous videos against the combination that Alex Ipatov managed to find against me, knight h5, knight f6 combination, please check it out. It's very similar topic. After each of his moves, my moves were the only ones. And that is a good sign to dig deeper, which engine for some reason don't do. Maybe developers should be aware of that. If there's a huge difference in evaluation and after each move opponent has the only response, it is a good idea to focus the engine on that line specifically rather than going wider. So a human being, when human is seeing a line in which there are only moves, for example, I get excited. I see like, oh, maybe I'm just crushing, let me see. And this is the case. Now it remembered that h6 is winner. But if I turn it off and turn it on again, it will again not be able to find it. That's the position I wanted to share with you. The bottom line is an advice for practical game. Opponent has only moves, keep looking, keep digging in that direction. There could be a brilliancy there, or just a regular win. It's just even the engine may not see it. But from human perspective, only moves, good sign for you. Okay. See you soon. Take care. Subscribe, share, ring the bell, or see you in a week. Bye bye.